Today we're going to be working on a fresh daisy arrangement. So stay with me and I'm going to show you how to make this wonderful basket. So today I'm going to show you how to make a daisy basket. These are nice to have on your table and a fun gift to give and brings a lot of joy. I'm going to be using the fall color daisy since we're getting into fall. And so today what we're going to need is a basket. You can find baskets, of course, at your flower shop if you want to go that route. I like to go to garage sales, thrift stores, rummage sales, anywhere like that. Or you can go to Hobby Lobby, any place where you can find a basket. But what you're going to need is a basket of your choosing, and you will need a liner. Liners you can find usually at Home Depot or Lowe's, somewhere like that. If you can't find a liner to fit your basket, try going with like a Cool Whip container, any kind of plastic that can fit down into your basket. Ideally, you want it to fit the size of the basket. You don't want it flopping all over the place. This one is a little bit loose, and so I'm just going to cut down around the edging of it to fit down in a minute, and we will work on that. Another thing that you're going to need is fresh floral foam. So make sure that when you go and get this foam, you can either buy it from your local florist or at Hobby Lobby. Make sure it is the fresh foam. There's two types of foam. There's fresh and there's silk. You don't want to make the mistake of using silk foam in your fresh arrangements. And then we're going to need some Oasis tape. What this is a tape that we put around the foam that actually holds up to water getting on it, and we wrap it around the Oasis and the liner. You can buy this online. You can go to your floral shop and see if they will purchase it for you. I have not seen it in Hobby Lobby, but it may be in some other craft stores, and this is a little bit different from floral tape. Floral tape is the green tape that you use to wrap your stems, a little sticky on one side. This is a little bit different. It comes in clear or it comes in green. You're also going to need leather leaf for your project, and you're going to need, of course, your daisies. I'm using the butterscotch daisies for fall because it is fall right now, but you can use yellow and white. That's bright. Everybody loves that one. And that's going to be it. And you can get some filler if you want to use filler. I'm going to use a little bit of fall leaves and a pumpkin in mine to decorate, but you can decorate with anything that you want to. So as for supplies, you're going to need your knife, of course. And if you don't have a knife, you can use these little clippers. You can get these from Dollar Tree. They work great. You always want to cut your flowers at an angle. And so if you're not comfortable using a knife to cut, definitely get these. They work great. We're also going to need some wire cutters and wire for our bow, and of course some scissors. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to start with is getting my Oasis into my liner. So this is my fresh Oasis. Like again, you can get this at Hobby Lobby. They may carry it at Dollar Tree, I don't know. You can check there as well. So I have a pretty big block here, and for something that's small like a 6-inch basket, I'm only going to use a third a piece of this. So I'm just going to cut down into this, and I'm going to put it into my container. So next I'm going to use that Oasis tape that I showed you. This does come in green and clear. You can use whichever one that you would like to do. I have a little bit of holes in here, so I'm using the clear. The green one I find works a little bit better. The clear is good when you're doing cubes, clear cubes or clear vases, or if you're trying to grid something. But anyway, we're just going to go around here with our tape and make sure that that's secure in there. And again, this is all going to be covered up by our greens and flowers, so nobody's really going to see this. And all I'm going to do is take this to the sink and wet this down and fill it with water to about here. Make sure that your Oasis gets plenty of water. Alright, so now we've got our water in here and the Oasis is soaked. Ideally, if you have a little bit of time, go ahead and get this process done. Make sure that this has a good drink, because sometimes this Oasis will soak up that water fast. And once after you make your arrangement, the flowers will drink plenty of this water. So if you're going to give it as a gift or you're going to keep it in your house, make sure that you stick your finger back in here and make sure that it has plenty of water the next day, because that's the last thing you want to do is dry out your flowers. So now we're going to go to our leather leaf. That's what we're going to use for this. Again, you can use some greens from your garden. If you're giving it to somebody who has pets, make sure that the greens are safe for pets. You can go online to Google and check that out, and maybe cover it with some lemon leaf, salal, something like that. But ideally, leather leaf is the best. And like I said, you can buy this at your flower shop. It comes 20 stems. You may have some left, like I do, from a project that I'm going to use up. So always keep those little pieces. I love to have those little pieces. Now, if you're new to floral designing, I'm going to do everything underneath this handle. And I'm going to start with my top pieces first, back to back. Once you get two pieces together, you're just going to try to make everything symmetrical. So if you need to leave it longer to start with, then do that and just keep going and make it symmetrical. Take your time with it. It's a little bit of a process learning. It takes some time to do, but just keep doing it and doing it, and I know that you'll get it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my first piece of leather leaf. And I'm going to take a little bit of those stems off, because you don't want to force these little pieces down into the oasis. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to push it right down in there. Oops, and I lost a piece overboard. Okay, and then I have another piece. And what I like to do to start with is I want to use the pieces of leather leaf to start with that have tips on them. That's just my preference. I like to see those tips, especially on my top part. You're always going to want to do a chop at the angle, or use these, chop it at a little bit of an angle, and poke it down in your oasis. All right, so that's underneath my handle, and I put two pieces back to back. I want to see this side of the leather leaf when you're making the arrangement. You do not want to see the back side of the arrangement. I've seen people do that before. It's not attractive, so please be conscious of that. Always make sure that your leather leaf is on the front side. So I have my two pieces there, and then what I'm going to do is work from this point and outward, so it's symmetrical. So I'm going to take this, my next little piece that I have, and I'm going to go to this side, and again I'm going to take off a few of these little pieces, because I want to get my stem down in there. And I'm kind of just going to make almost like 4 corners here. And take another little piece, and I'm going to put it up this way. And as you can see, all around here, all of my greens are on the outside part. So I have these little pieces to use up. I want to use all the stems. So I'm just going to start going around the arrangement with my leather leaf and poking them in. And you want to make sure the outside is the out part here. And I'm just going to start pushing them down in. So be careful of that. And if you make a mess, don't worry about it. The one thing that people are always shocked about when they come into the flower shop is all of our stems that are on the floor and that we're stepping on left and right. People laughed at that. It's very messy. This is not something that you need to worry about, something falling on the floor and picking it up. Just get to a space that you can have, that you can work on, and make a mess and sweep it up one time. All right, so you can see my top part is starting to form. And then if you're new to this, what I would do is go ahead and start on your outside part. So basically you want to go from here, kind of take your hand and put it in an angle. So I want to angle this out. I want this to come out a little past the basket. If you really are a technical engineer person type, then go ahead, you can get a little ruler and line it and do it in an angle. All right, so I'm going to cut, and again, I don't want to push this in with these stems here. I'm going to take those off, and I'll put those in later. Give it a cut at an angle and start putting it in and working around. Now at this point, when you're doing the bottom, you want to take the leather leaf, angle it down, and go up into your oasis so that it's covering the container. Ideally, what we're going to do is line this entire container with the greenery so that we're not seeing this liner or the oasis anymore. So it might be easier if you go around the bottom and then fill in. So again, I'm cutting, I'm pulling away, cutting at an angle, I'm going down and pushing up into my container. I'm going down and pushing up again. And what I'm going to keep doing is turning this around so that I can see it. Down and up around the bottom. I find this to be the best way for beginners, doing the top pieces and the bottom pieces, and then you can look and see your angle. If I do this, I can see that I'm at an angle and it's coming over my basket nicely. Always again leave those pieces just a little bit longer, because you can always take it back out and cut it off. And I'm going to go up. So you can see what I'm doing here. And once I get all the way around, then I'll fill in with these other pieces that I have everywhere here. So you just want to get a nice start on this going around. And I always like to have the tips here showing. So I have a pretty good arrangement here and round, and you can see the symmetrics of it. So I'm just going to start filling in. So now I have pieces like this to use, and so I can just give it a little cut here and poke it in. And even if I have something like this, give it an angle cut and poke it in up here. So now ideally I'm just going to take all these little pieces of leather leaf that I have, and I'm going to start poking them in. Again, make sure that the front side of the leather leaf is showing. And if you're doing this with Christmas greens or any other type of plant, you want to make sure that is the way as well. I have seen Christmas greens turned upside down. It doesn't look so good. All right, so you see that I'm just going around and I'm eyeballing this and I'm poking it in as we go around. And let me try to get rid of a little bit of this so we can keep seeing. And I'm going to keep going around and around until I cannot see that foam anymore. And you can use your little pieces and your bigger pieces in here. Just make sure that any pieces that you're filling in with aren't like coming out this way and past these top pieces. You want everything to be in there. Also, your flowers are going to help to get rid of that foam so that you can't see it. And you can always, and if you have filler that's going in it as well, some baby's breath, maybe some solidago, maybe some Monty, anything like that is also going to fill in these holes. You don't want to overgreen, but just make sure that you're not seeing liner or oasis. All right, so at this point, I'm looking around. My container looks pretty good. I don't see any huge holes. And if you do see some huge holes, you can always go back. So at this point, you can see, get rid of some of that mess. You can see that I have symmetrics to this. It's up here and it just comes down. Now if you see a big old piece hanging out here and it's past these greens and it's up here, you need to take that out and cut it back down. You want a nice rounded arrangement. So at this point now we can put in our daisies. So I have these beautiful butterscotch daisies. And what you want to do, hopefully when you find them, you want to find some long daisies. These have decent breaks on them. These up here are a little bit shorter. I want to find some that have some really good breaks, and we're going to go in and out with them. And I'm going to leave this one little one on the stem up here. So if you can in the store, try to find that. If it's in a big wadded bunch, I don't really like using that for daisy baskets, especially when the breaks are too short. They're very hard to work with. If I just had to work with this one little piece right here, I'm never going to get the length up here or out here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my first one. I'm going to give it a chop at an angle. And that one broke on me. Let's try another one. Find something that's long. And I got some good long breaks here. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to give it a chop on the angle. And I'm going to put my first one right here below the handle. And I'm going to do the same thing like the greens. I didn't quite get that in the middle. I'm going to do this symmetrical. So I have that one there. I'm going to take another really long one, and I'm going to go ahead and put this out the side. And this is a good tip for beginning. Just kind of make sure that we are at an angle, and then we can fill in between. Here's another long one like that one. So I'm going to go ahead and put this at the other side. Okay, so I have that in there. I'm going to turn this around, have another good break here. So I'm going to push this into my foam. Just push it on in there. And again, you can see the angle. Kind of think of it as a triangle. If you already know how to do this, that's great. For beginners, I would definitely try to use this technique of trying to get this part done first, your angles and angles, because then we can always go back and fill in. So I have a basic shape here. You can see everything is angling down and symmetrical. All right, so now I'm going to go and start filling back in. So these are shorter, so I'm going to give this a chop at the angle. Now I have 3 little breaks on here. I think I'm going to take one off. It's okay to leave 2 on there. They're kind of staggering there. And I'm going to go in underneath this one and poke down. And that one just broke on me. So again, I'm at an angle here. And then I'm going to get another daisy. And I'm going to go ahead and poke here. Still at an angle. Keep that line going. And that's what I'm going to do all the way around this basket, is keep going down a line. I may have to turn this around and look at it for a second. Sometimes this is hard to do backwards. All right, so I'm poking these in. And you kind of want to do an in and out thing with this. So we can have some that are a little bit deeper and a little bit longer. It helps to bring some dimension to the basket. You just don't want anything that's just way too far down in. In other words, I don't want to take this and shove it all the way down in there. I need some dimension with that. All right, so I'm just going to keep going on with my daisies here and work my way around. And if one of these breaks, that's okay. Just keep giving those daisies chop and angle. That's a big thing with flowers too. Make sure that you keep giving it a chop, 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 chop. And if you do buy your flowers at the grocery store, try to make sure that your daisies have a nice yellow center to it, or a green center like these do. If they're brown, they're old. Don't buy those. What happens a lot of times when flowers get handled in grocery stores, people keep picking them up out of the water and they stop drinking. And that's not good for the flowers. That's why we keep giving them chops at an angle, so that they will start drinking their water again. So I'm continuing to turn this around. This one's missing a petal. Also with floral foods, if you're interested in the floral foods, the little packets they give you with stuff, I haven't found that to do anything than regular water. It doesn't really work. We've tested that several times in different types of flowers. Basically, if you give the flowers that chop on the diagonal and put it in some water, warm water, if the flowers are dry packed and they're new, not hot, warm, let them take up some water, then they're fine. The floral life doesn't do any better than just having in that water. And you want to change your water with your flowers if you're not using them right away. All right, so I'm still going around here, as you can see, and I've got a lot of daisies in here, and that's looking rather nice. And I'm gonna move this one over a little bit because I want to put a bow, which I guess I should have decided where I'm gonna put that bow, but I think I'm gonna put it right there. And you can put as many daisies in as that you like to do. I'm making mine a little bit more of a simple daisy basket. You can use 2-color daisies. Like I said, the white and the yellow together are really pretty. It's bright and vibrant. I really like that for summertime. You can go and get the butterscotch with rust, and also filler is nice in these as well. I'm just trying to show you something here basic here. And I'm about done. Just going to add a few more little daisies in here, and then we're going to move on to our bow. All right, I had to turn this towards me again. Let's get one more on the side there. Put that down in there. And if you don't like the way, if something's pushed too deep, I didn't like the way that one was, just pull it back out a little bit. Leave those stems a little bit longer. Push them in and out as you like. All right, so now I'm going to make my bow. I have my ribbon. And again, you want the shiny side up. Make sure you know which side of the ribbon that you're using. I'm going to do a little bit of streamers. And so there's my streamer. I'm going to make a loop, a smaller loop, because I'm going to make a little insert center here, a small loop, and then I'm going to make a bigger loop here. So I'm going to bring the ribbon and then back into me. Half twist, bring the loop out, make a half loop, bring the ribbon back to me, and make a half twist. Okay? And then I'm just going to cut so that my streamers are about equal. And I'm going to take my wire and cut a piece there. And I'm going to go right in the middle here to secure my bow. Just take the wire and then twist. So I'm twisting the wire around. And here's where we are going to need a pick. If you don't have a pick, you can always use like a piece of old silk wire. You just need something that you can wrap that around, the pick around, or make a pick out of. This is basically a pick. It's just a wooden pick with a wire on it. So any type of stick that you can find in a pinch, just use that. And I'm going to wrap my wire around it. These come in all different sizes. And I'm going to wrap the wire here around the pick. Okay? And then I'm going to put the bow into the arrangement, and I'll adjust my bow after I get it into the arrangement. There it is. All right. You can adjust your loops the way that you want to. And I'm going to give my bow these little tails. I take the ribbon, fold it in half, and do a diagonal cut upwards. And that gives me a little dovetail. I like these. You don't have to. You could just leave it on the slant if you like slants, or you can leave it straight if you like, however you want to do it. And bend your wire, the ribbon the way that you want to. It is wired ribbon, so you can bend it different ways that you like. So I have that in there, and then I happen to have a pumpkin and a silk fall leaf that I got to put in my arrangement. So I'm going to go ahead and put my pumpkin in. And I'm just going to do a simple, just one leaf in here, a simple fall leaf. You can do as many as you like, and you can put lots of different things in here. I'm just doing something simple today, just something simple and rustic. And there you have it, our daisy basket. All right, so there's our daisy basket. It's beautiful, it's great as a centerpiece on your table. Don't throw out all these little scraps. You can do so many things with them. Just stick them in a little vase. You can always use a little bit of leather leaf and put those in a little vase around your house. You keep them for yourself. If you're giving this as a gift, you can put these in your room next to you. It's just a nice little touch. I love having fresh flowers around my house. Thank you so much. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. We really would appreciate it, and hit the like button. Join us again for Piper's Petals.